Hey guys, this is Marc Goldberg from Marc Vlogs Watches, and today I want to discuss the so-called Rolex shortage, why this is happening, and the mob psychology that has taken root, given the fact that you cannot just walk into an authorized dealer and buy a whole range of what are now highly desirable Rolex watches. And guess what? Wasn't all that long ago that those were the dogs of the range and nobody even wanted them. Now you can't get them and everybody wants them. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of this horological conundrum, dilemma, situation, circumstance, and problem, we should probably do the quick fist watch check. And here it is. If you're already a subscriber to my channel, thank you so much. And if you're not, please definitely subscribe. We have so many more good times to share together. Speaking of unobtainable, today I am wearing a Rolex Submariner. As some of you OCD-oriented people will correct me, it is not a Rolex Submariner. It is a Rolex Submariner date. Okay, so let's talk about this. First of all, I'm an old guy, 61 years old. I bought my first Rolex I would say it must have been around 1987 at the authorized dealer. That authorized dealer is still there, and I still visit them from time to time. The problem with that dealer is I can't get them to take a deposit for. I couldn't get them to even take a deposit for this watch, or a Hulk, or like anything which is now considered good. But let me tell you, I remember in 1987. So, well, I guess I should say pull up a chair, kids. This is going to be story time for you youngins. So there it was, 1987. I walked into the authorized dealer here in Illinois. And I was a young Turk at the time. I fancied myself something of a genius business executive. And I wanted a watch that said, hey, I'm up and coming. I'm successful. Stand back. Watch out for me. And so naturally, I wanted a dress watch because let me tell you, the watch to have back then was the Datejust. Now, all these steel sports watches were plentiful. They were cheap, and just get them out of my way. I don't want to see those. I will drop a picture of the watch that I purchased right here. And as you can see, it is a lovely 34 millimeter two-tone Rolex date with the date. Three-handed time and a date. And it's a lovely watch. It's small, very small by today's standards, but at the time it was considered very blingy and frankly a little daring because of all the Jubilee bracelet makes the gold shine and sparkle. It catches the light. I don't remember exactly what I paid for that watch, but I think it was somewhere in the $2,200 range. And I know that for something like a little more, but not much more than half of that, I could have had the 1987 version of this. And had I bought the 1987 version of this for $1,200 or $1,400, it'd be worth $10,000, $12,000 now had I preserved it in original condition. And my little two-tone date, it's still saleable. It's probably worth $2,500, $2,600, $2,700. If you know more than me about the resale on that, put it in the comments. But I think that's about where it is, which is pretty amazing. It's an elderly watch that has held its value. And in a lot of brands, there is no value on an old watch, let alone a new one in terms of resale. But, we're talking Rolex here. So there's always a resale value. But that brings me to talking about the shortage. Look, first, I'm going to put a link to a video I made earlier in the description of this video, because I think there is a very, very specific strategic reason that you can't find Rolex hardly at all, or the type of Rolex that we're talking about, steel sports Rolex. Can't find it at the authorized dealer, and that's because Rolex has decided to go with Patek level limited edition difficulty in acquisition. They cannot compete with Patek on the level of horology because Patek are largely hand-built, whereas Rolex are largely robotically built. So they're going to achieve the same end, which is to say these watches are going to double and triple in value over the next 10, 20 years. They're going to achieve that end by making it unobtainable and simultaneously desirable. So we are talking right here, the law of supply and demand is definitely going to take over. Okay, so here's the thing. Guys, psychologically, we want what we can't have. We want what we can't have. Listen, when I when I could have any Submariner in the case that I wanted, when I could have the Explorer 1, like any Steel Sports, the GMTs in the 80s, when I could have any single one of those that I want, I didn't want them. And guess what? I was not alone. You guys are young, you don't remember, but none of us wanted them. What did we want? We wanted those Datejusts that were difficult to acquire, that were, you know, you only had your choice of a few, and those were the highly desirable watches. Now, Rolex has flipped the script on us, and so all of a sudden everybody is complaining, oh, I can't get a Submariner. Oh, I can't get a GMT. Well, first of all, if you walked into a Rolex Emporium and it was like new iPhone day, you know, not on the day of release when there's a line, but 4 months later when there's nobody in the store and there's many of those iPhones in whatever color and configuration that you want, well, you wouldn't want the Submariner. In other words, if you walked in there and they had 50, 60, 100 of them, if they had Daytonas coming out the butt, you wouldn't want them. You want them because you can't get them, and because they hold their value, and because the day you pay retail for them, you think you can sell them for a bit more than what you purchased them for, and in some cases that's true. So really what we're dealing with here is some form of mob psychology. Now, I don't blame you good people for this. I blame Rolex and not the authorized dealer, not the jeweler where the jewelry store where the watch is sold. I blame Rolex, the manufacturer, the corporation, which is actually a foundation in Geneva, Switzerland. Every place that sells Rolex is just a jewelry store with a Rolex distribution contract. Those are independent businesses, and for the most part, relatively small businesses. And they are subject to doing whatever Rolex says that they will do in their Rolex distribution agreement. And because it's prestigious, most of them are willing to go along with crazy and expensive draconian requirements that Rolex puts upon them. Okay, so I guess really here is the whole point of this video. First, understand, the people that are complaining that they can't get a hold of a Rolex, well, I wonder how many of them really have $10,000, you know, that they're just ready to like plop down on a Rolex. It's easy to complain about not being able to get something when you can't get it, but if you could, and you got to plop down 10 grand to get it, tell me, really, seriously, is that your situation? Are you just dying to plop 10 grand down on something that you don't have? Some of you are, some of you aren't. Now, by the way, I am not poverty shaming, okay? I work really hard for my money, and I know that 99.9% of you guys do too. Yeah, I own a lot of Rolex watches, and I have a confession to make. One of the things that I like about the brand is knowing that my money has just taken a different form, and if the SH hits the fan, I can convert it right back to money. Let me just move the camera here. You see the roof? See those windows? This is the property. Those windows all need replacement. The roof, you can see a little bit the roof. You know, the roof I think has got maybe another 5 years on it. The siding, yeah, is going to need replacement. So I have like a whole lot of stuff. I got a lot of expenses, you know, that I'm going to be having soon on this property. And you know, if I'm really lucky and business goes well, you know, my book sells, let dogs be dogs. Buy it at a bookstore or an Amazon near you and support this channel. Buying my book is a great way to support the channel. Thanks, guys. You know, if all that does well, if my new book does well, then, you know, maybe I won't have to liquidate watches. But I like knowing I can go into the vault, pull out watches, and just get my money back and put that into siding and windows and roofing, you know, if I need to do that. So that's really, for me, the big appeal of Rolex, specifically Steel Sports. So I am in the canoe with you people. Now, final thought. Yeah, there's a shortage if you got to be the guy who walks into the authorized dealer and you're the first guy to ever wear the watch. I bought this one on eBay used, full box, full papers, 2-year warranty, $8,500 out the door, box, papers, and 2-year warranty from a really reputable seller. So it's not that you can't get this stuff. You can, you just can't get it at the authorized dealer. You have to be a smart shopper. Some watches are selling at a premium, some less so. You know, you just got to know what you're doing. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to put my 5 strategies for buying a used Rolex video. I made a video on this, and I'll put it in the description of this video too. In the off chance that you're saying, gee, you know what, I do have money that I want to invest in a Rolex right now to, you know, to enjoy and, you know, hold on to retain my value while I enjoy my watch, but the darn authorized dealer won't take my deposit or my money. That, in fact, is a problem. So look, I bought a Polar Explorer, picture here. I bought that on eBay for $6,200, box, no papers. Anyway, there's lots of options. I guess really I'm trying to tell you, if you want to watch, oh, have a look. Here's my two-tone Sky Dweller, box, papers, $14,000. That's well over $3,000 under MSRP and about $4,500 under MSRP plus tax. Have a look at the picture here. So guys, you can get most anything you want on the secondary market. Now, okay, if you want a Batman, yeah, you're gonna pay through the butt for that. If you want the ceramic Daytona, yeah, that's a killer. But let's be real. If those were stacked up 500 deep at the authorized dealer, they wouldn't be holding their value. And frankly, you wouldn't want them. I probably wouldn't want them either. Final confession before I cut this video off. I have a Batman, picture here. I have a confession to make. I'm a shallow SOB. Now that this watch is trending at like $14,000 compared to the $7,800 full set price that I paid for it used, now that it's trending at $14,000, I think I like it more. Am I shallow? Goldberg, peace out.